So, releasing the old patterns is a topic that you might have heard before or understood before. Maybe it might be a new perspective that you might be connecting on some examples that I might be sharing of maybe anecdotes or something like take what resonates and leave something doesn't resonate to you, or you tried something. I would love to hear something, some questions you have that you struggled or that you were challenged, but you found it very hard as well. Maybe I'll open up for Q&A in between or put it in the chat as well. So it'll be nice to have these conversations. And if you got a journal or a pen, like grab the ideas that you want to. Sometimes when we are listening to like a podcast or a talk or a audiobook as well, immediately something clicks in that's resonating as in our parallel lives as well. So it's important to do the work with them immediately because they are coming to the surface as to be addressed. Yeah. So one of the other things that I have figured out in my own path is around diagnosis of arthritis was some of the patterns that I was carrying in were not serving me the purpose. And they were actually holding on a lot of toxic energies in my physical body by toxic thoughts, toxic food deposits as well, because anything that doesn't get digested, they are accumulated in our physical body. So that's where this is really relevant for me in having a better health, better jest to life as well. And we all grow up in those circumstances where do we hear like the same patterns from our parents, from our aunts or like grandparents, especially the women. Like, we have been trained to remember every negative incident that happened. Someone said this, so and so, like, more than men. Men are being designed to be out of the home, not being trained how to handle emotions. But whereas when we are being shown these emotions, that's where we remember these so deeply, the hurts and the wounds as well. And we carry them as it's still happening to us, even after 20 years, 40 years as well. So that is the very awkward kind of a situations. We know all of us that, oh, this situation happened when I was 7. Why am I still talking into my 60s? Like, when we question that, that's a release or a change in a pattern is needed. Either the person around is not there, situation is not the same, or we are not even friends with that particular person here in, say, like, or the person is not even on earth, but we still remember those. That's the parts of it. Like, and also the other parts is like when we have to release something that we are used to, we need something better to be replaced as well. Very ideal example is a lot of people say sugar is bad for our health. Of course, it is. No controversial statement there. But if we have to give up sugar, we have to really find a good quality of a food nourishment to our souls. It could be a coconut water, it could be a very organic, healthy fruits, it could be, or something very worth it that we are going to release it. Same with like, people having addictions of alcohol or smoking. It's the same thing. If we have to give that, that should be a bargain of something very valuable. Say, for example, health diagnosis is a very good bargain that we do actually drop everything that's not good for, even though we have known for many decades. But that moment is where we say, okay, let me give this up because I really want to get better. The same, it could be with the toxic person in our lives as well. When we drop it to take care of our kids, it could be, or ourselves, it could be, it's a worth doing that parts of it. Understanding what is that self-destructive part of a pattern that we are having. Self-destructive as to which is giving us a mental chatterbox, low self-esteem it could be, or no confidence into ourselves as well. It could be any of these. Or very typically as well is like, why am I into this relationship again and again? No matter which relationship I go on to, there is always a betrayal. So there is a pattern that someone would have identified in, like, I love that when the client does the research and comes to me saying like, hey, I am being in this pattern of it and I want to break it. Can we see where is it coming from? How do I do it? Like, it's like half the work is done that they have identified a pattern in themselves. Like, maybe some of you already recognize that kind of a patterns of a people, either in a relationship, either in a workplace, either in our own families. It could be the sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, our own family members as well that we have been, or between us and our children as well. If you got one, like, there is always like, oh, why do I get fussy about aisle seat or a window seat? Like, the same someone else, like there is something about that I can't let go. So those are not something that's going to be really harmful, but the stress it puts onto us, like just because we didn't get what we want, is an underlying reason of it. And that's where we are discovering, say, that moment of things like, okay, why am I so fussy? What I didn't get about, like, it's not that everything I want is happening, but why this particular point is a trigger for me. And when we look back into it, like, maybe as a child, you were denied of everything, whereas your elder sibling or someone else in your family has always gotten what they wanted. So there was an inner comparison that you felt, yet you're not worthy, you don't deserve good things. And that's a script that we have been told indirectly and written for ourselves as well, zillion times saying that. And now as adults, when we take care of ourselves, we are coming into a place that, oh, I'm ready to release that pattern because I'm worthy, I can take care, I can pay money, extra money to get the seat that I want. Like, so those are the new ways of thoughts that we still feel stuck into the loop of the scenario, rather than really, if I deserve what I want to, why am I making a fuss, and make those changes. We take the actions associated as well. For some people, it becomes easier, or some scenarios, it becomes easier. But in some scenarios, they are deeper wounds, and some, even I would say, to the extent that, if you guys believe in or not, comes from the past lifetimes as well. The behaviors we do, or the feel of cling to some things, emotions as well. So that's another aspect. But we can do a lot of changes in this lifetime, what we can release into, like, so if you recognize, like, make a list of those things, some of the patterns that you are carrying in that are not comfortable, not ideal for you. It could be even like, a disorder like OCD, compulsive, like keeping things in a particular way, the color coordination. It could be as well the rituals that you might be obliged to do before you leave house out of fear, rather than with like happiness as well. Like, the patterns are all around us. Like, it's just like we need to take a step back. That is where we'll be realizing about it. And when we realize, that itself is such a powerful thing. Like, some of you who have done a shadow work or inner work, like our inner child work, it's so powerful. Like, it comes with a cost of it to feel better, but when we are doing the work, it's very vulnerable as well. So having a friend to support you is ideal as well. Or if you're into a therapy as well, it's ideal place, because someone is that accountable, that we can show up with this work. Yeah. But otherwise, definitely, like that knowledge that you're going to gain in rechecking, reevaluating yourself is so powerful. Like, like when you buy a house, when you sell a house, like, you get the snag list, you get all the checks done, if house is in a functioning order, if any improvements to be done. If a material property can get all those, why are we not doing to ourselves? Like, inner work is always been having a bad baggage of like something is wrong to work on it. Like, but actually it's not about being wrong, it's about improvising ourselves. Because definitely, I don't want to be the same person as yesterday. I want to be a better version every single day. My teacher says, like, today is the best day of our lives. Like, every day he says the same. So that is how we should be, a better version of ourselves from every single day, that we are falling in love with ourselves, that we are really coming in together to how beautiful we can change. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the complex situations we are in, but I want to change, I want to grow, is the attitude that we are bringing into these when we drop the patterns. major advantage that I found is a pattern release is the weight that we were carrying on our shoulders to be something or to just follow the path. Like, how many of you, like, carry the pattern same as your mom or a dad? Without even realizing, without even questioning, you just adapted to it. And like in your 30s, 40s, or even now, you have realized, but you don't want to change that because, oh, I just want to move that because it's a legacy that I'm carrying in, even though it doesn't make sense at all. Like, it's a totally different generation, but the habit has made us not to lose that part of it. Yeah. So those are the, again, like the ones that are coming up onto the surface to bring them out. Definitely having one to recognize and alternatively putting a higher frequency energy beside it is the ideal way to do a switch. So we feel like we are really investing on ourselves and moving through things with much ease as well. This also happens when we are in silence. I may not use the word meditation when I say silence. It's just that watching everything about ourselves. Like, it could be from the age just born till whatever you are, just like watching a movie of your own life and recognizing things is allowing you to listen more to your own inner self. And when you listen to your inner self, is that beauty that you discover about who you truly are by not someone else. Like if we ask an opinion to someone else, can guarantee you they will only see, like depending on the quality of people around us, they only see the flaws because they have flaws in them. But if someone has worked on themselves, then they see only the good in you. So asking for opinion about ourselves is not an ideal situation because it's very opinionated from where they are coming and what we have shown our lives to them. So if you ask a friend, like, what do they think? What's your patterns about? If they have known you from like age of 45 till like, now, they may not have a full spectrum of information, 1 to 43. So that's, they don't have that knowledge. They don't know the conditions why you do a particular thing to do. And that's where this shift is about. Yeah. But yourself, you have been there with yourself forever, right? So you are the original, the best kind of a way that you can hold on to your own informations. Um, and there is no greater expert than you yourself. So that's the best thing. And you're having a deeper root connection with your own soul that you feel more comfortable. What happens when that weight is dropped off is the pains in our body are shifting. And I'm my own example here. Definitely, like, the pains are shifting, the extra baggage is not there anymore. You're more smiling, you're more happier. There is no reason to hold it all back as well. So that's the beauty about it. Yeah. Staying open, it's challenging definitely to make any changes when we are caught about, like, any things that are not working for our highest good. So staying open to, oh, when I'm making the change, this is what's going to happen. When you move the house, there is packing, shuffling, and unpacking, and giving clothes for charities, and all those things are going to happen. But once you settle down into a new home, like, oh, that all happened, I did it, and I'm settling here in a new home, putting up a Christmas tree, that's a joy that you get into. So there is always that uncomfort period of any change that comes through as well. Like, and remember, when you are changing your pattern, the people around you are not even aware that you're doing this. So they might be in a shock. Why are you doing this differently? What's happening? Are you okay? Like, it might be a shock as well because the expectations are changing. Say, like, but if you were I'll take the example like what Sarah was just mentioning about dropping the kid to school, like we all do that, right? But if you are unwell one day and you don't feel good and you're not dropping your child to school, the kid is in a limbo of like, what's happening? Why are you not doing it? Like, and you haven't told them that you're not feeling well. So it's a confusion they go through, right? And like, as if like, did I do something wrong? Did I hurt you? Did I upset you? You don't want to drop me? Like, okay, what's happening? The panic comes in, like, so that is what happens. Like, if our environment is not sure about the changes that are coming, and what happens is like, then we give up and say, oh, okay, even though I'm not well, I have to do this. Let's do this. Like, that's how we shift again, do the things as an old pattern, even though it was not fulfilling. But if you feel comfortable giving a heads up as well, some changes I'm not comfortable, I'm making those, and I want to feel better, let's give a chance, an opportunity. Is also you're teaching them they can do that for themselves too. Something really like uncomfortable things, like if you're coming off cigarettes and the environment, people around you might be smoking, and if you give a heads up to them that, hey, I'm going to quit, so they might be considerate to you, your environment, and helping you, and maybe they will reduce themselves. They might be in a benefit. They might be moving out, doing the smoking outside the home, so that doesn't become like kind of impulsive for you to take up again. So that again really helps in teaching our environment, the people as well, what's happening, and keeping it open as well. When we are making some big changes of a pattern is something that's been there for such a long time. It's not something new that we are trying to eradicate. It has been for decades or years, or since the long beginning that you remember. Like, say, for example, the newest pattern majority of them have is scrolling your phone before your bedtime. And now, like, it has become such a bad habit. We all know it, the consequences of it, and then the deprivation of the circadian rhythm, and no sleep, and feeling anxious as well. And then we might give justification as like, oh, I was only checking the things that are exciting, like, but actually, in unknowingly, even the blue light is affecting us, and the whole thing. The effect is not in one day, it's over the weeks and the months that we are noticing. And now to change that pattern itself is taking a long time for many of us. So if you think about just a gadget, a material is giving such a kind of a addiction. Think about all the other things that we have been doing. So it is a change. It is something that we need to understand. It's going to be a challenging phase. So once to replace that kind of a pattern, idealization is like, having some other ritual, maybe a book back, like a really interesting book, or doing some journaling or art, or having a little bit of a lavender oil, smelling it, disconnecting from it in that moment, like, or keeping the phone away from your room. So the other ideas that can really come up, to let go of that habit is what we need to be thinking about it. Yeah. And bringing the new changes, new habits into our life that are really ideal, good for us. Every one of us know what is good for us. It's not something that we have to be taught anymore. It's just that we don't connect into our heart centers to know what is good for us. We always have put it out, to others. Tell me what's good for me. It could be the doctors, it could be the friends. Like, I don't understand. I'm so confusing. Can you please tell me? I'm going to do exactly what you'll say to me. Like, but it is taking your power and giving to someone else who hasn't lived your life. But at the end, we have to live our own lives. Yeah. I used to have this habit of going to psychics when I was growing up, in late teenagers. I may have said some time with you guys, but that's the memory coming back. I used to have every holidays, like near the beach or somewhere, like, if there is a parrot reading, like a psychic parrot reading, the parrot comes out and there will be tarot cards, and the parrot picks up, and the guy converts and gives the information what the parrot meant as well through the deck of card, and he'll interpreting, giving me the information. So I remember I used to fancy that a lot, and just for the curiosity, how it is doing, how the guy is, like even before knowing all these things about what I know now. And I used to give so much power to the person, to the parrot itself, a little bird, and forget that I used to really think they are going to resolve my issues, resolve my marks, getting better, like, and everything. Like, and then it took me only in my late 20s, like God damn, what did I do? Like, how could they change my life? How could me not studying and not getting good enough score or having a good memory, they helped me with that? Like, that was how we give away our power to something very external. But at the time, it was so neat that you can't think any better than that, right? And at the end, like I used to always remember this part they used to say is like, you need to take the action. And I used to be so upset about it. Then why would I bother coming to you and hearing that I need to take the action about situations or anything as well? Like, that really used to upset me. But in a way, they were giving me the power back, but I was refusing to take it as well. Yeah. So this is where again, like, with the patterns as well that comes up, like, we give our power back to some situation, scenario, a person as well, and not own ourselves. Yeah. Um, Definitely the first protocol would be here is to identify what is really bugging us, being uncomfortable. And sitting with that scenario is some time to reflect onto as like any patterns that we are repeating, relationship, work, or the daily habits, and not serving for our highest good. That is something that we need to understand with identifying. Like, journal is my favorite way to go for. Once you identify, it need not be like we have like millions of patterns, I need to change it. When it really comes, it could be like only 2 or 3 patterns that are uncomfortable that we do it, and that is messing us. Like, again, like I can guarantee that part, we don't have too many as well that we have to recognize, and they would be only coming up as we are ready to resolve them now. Yeah. And why we are repeating, asking those questions, open-ended questions. You're not asking anyone, you're not letting anyone ask you. Even like, if I'm going to a therapist, I hear from my clients is like, I tell them only what I'm comfortable. I don't tell them every truth. That's too honest. Like, we choose how much we can even confront, how much we can say. But when it comes to our own heart center, we know everything. Like, either you tell yourself or not, your soul knows every experience we had it. So there is nothing to hide there. And asking yourself what the purpose of the pattern was serving in our lives. Like, how is it helping me? How is it helping me to compromise into abusive relationship? Could be a reason of like, oh, that's what I saw my mom doing, or that's what I saw being comfortable. I didn't want to be single, so I'm jumping on from one relation to other to have that companionship that I thought, but every relation is turning into being into an abusive situation as well. So sometimes we just knowingly compromise as well. Oh, I don't deserve the best. Playing small as well. These other scripts that come in along with the pattern are the heavy ones that we are unloading parts of it as well. Yeah. So that is a major one, to understand the pattern. And does it make you feel safe or comfortable? Is a way to avoid facing your fears. Being safe and comfortable, it is making us safe and comfortable, and you enjoy this pattern. Like waking up and drinking a cup of coffee is a pattern that you might have accumulated, and you enjoy that morning bliss with yourself, go for it. Like, but if you go to a gut doctor and you complain you're having acidic stomach, that might be a change. They would say like, hey, coffee is not good first thing in the morning, eat something and then drink coffee. So there could be a change in a pattern that might be coming up for your highest good. Like, so those are the ones, like if it is not harming you or nothing has been shifted, that you really need to change a pattern, you don't need to as well. Like, and it's only when you really have to for your highest good. Remember that point. Not all the patterns we are going to work, only the ones that are limiting us. That's some limiting beliefs it could be as well. Like, one classic example is like my dad used to always say, I think it's most of our parents have said those words, money doesn't grow on the trees. Like, you really need to work hard. So my way of looking now at life is you need to be smarter as well. Like, you need to work hard, but also you need to be smarter. Money doesn't grow on trees, definitely, but I believe if I can want something, I always get what I want. So it's a different changes. But our parents, our ancestors didn't have that scenario that they could see far ahead. They didn't have vision boards. They didn't have these connections that they could have uplifting. At least majority of them, maybe like 5% had it, chances of it, depending on where their society was and everything. But that's a scenario that we all grew up with. But we believed in it and we gave, like, 200% of everything into what we were doing. So that's a pattern that we need to think about, like limiting belief things, like, yeah, question back, why can't I deserve better? Where is this coming from? What is the root cause of it? Did I hear Upgrowing? Did I watch this and grow up? Or did I hear on a commercial? Like, anything that's really bothering, ask these questions. It goes to the depth of the root cause of it. And that's where we can really tweak and take that weed out of our system. Yeah. Challenging the pattern, that's one. Like once you identify and understand the pattern, the challenge, you need to really challenge, and this means breaking out of your comfort zone, trying new things. If you have a pattern of avoiding conflict in your relationship, challenge yourself to speak up and express your needs, which is damn hard if you recognize you have that pattern. I had that pattern and it was so hard, because you have been tamed by the environment not to speak your emotions. But if you don't, you could be always under a lower end of the relationship as just absorbing nothing valuable to give into a relationship because your voice is not being heard. But when you have to change, you first have to hear your own voice. That could be your own, like, oh my God, can I really do this? But there is a script running in your head again and again. You have to do it. You can do it. This is meant for your own identity. Like, if not, we do have an identity crisis in a relationship. So there are many things that comes through that part of not showing up. Yeah. So that's again like another thing to be checking in and really conversing with ourselves, like, why am I not doing it? Avoiding conflict is one of the major things. Like, we don't like confrontations, we don't like awkward conversations, we try to skip and avoid unless someone has a pint of a Guinness, and that really changes it. But it's not comfortable at all. Whatever, shove it under the rug and not bring up. We think that we resolved it, but these all bulk up, pile up, and they become such a heavy energies for our children or our siblings or any family member or a friend as well. Once it's not been worked, the confrontation is only in that moment you'll have like uncomfort, but once you speak, you cross that bridge, it's done. Like, that's not what we have been taught. So we are not comfortable in getting it over our chest and done with it. We have been shown always to shove it, don't bring up, don't tell your family tales, don't tell your stories, don't tell this happened in your family. These are the stories that needs to be hidden, like, and this happened for many decades and centuries as well. It's just not our family only. That's what I realized when I started speaking about my stories. I started my practice, I realized, oh my God, Indian culture is so alike like Irish culture. Like, yeah, it's so same. Like, the moms love their boys and they don't know they are mistreating. Sorry again, guys, if you have a female or a daughter and you love her so beautifully. I'm saying this example, but like in general situations, like, those are the ones that again I realize like every one of us has got a story there, and every, like, just not only Irish. Then I started noticing, like, as we started having the European communities, those clients were increasing, and then started recognizing Italians or the Polish as well. Like, we all have the similar habits, patterns that we have been held no matter where. And now being in US as well, that's all I do notice it. It's so when we are in the limited scope, like the frog being in a small well, thinking this is it, it's me, I can't see any light here. But then when we open up and meet more frogs, then we realize, oh, we all have been feeling the same, like, and let's make it normalized. And that's one of the biggest thing that I have seen since the COVID time is the TikTok and the Instagram videos on self-esteem or checking in the conversations, like, a lot of psychologists making talks about these things has made it very normal. Like the words of mother wound, it could be the betrayal, it could be abuse, abuse, it could be like, or even the red flags of a domestic violence as well. These have come up a lot, like, no more suffering in silence. As much as possible, we are making those changes by being very vocal about it, not being afraid, not being ashamed to speak about the things, like, because at the end, only we have to live with that. The more we are ashamed, the more we are putting the pressure on ourselves not to see our own gifts that we have come around with. Yeah. So challenging those parts of ourselves is really expressing your needs. Very uncomfortable, but very needed as well. Like, it could be expressing how you feel about someone within the relationship as well, like, and from time to time we all are changing, like, it's not that we are the same when we were very young as well. So we are coming into that change environment now and owning, oh, this is what my new change needs are. Say, like, I'm so looking forward, like, once my girls are in the colleges, I don't need to wake up at 6 o'clock. I want to have that 7 o'clock wake up time, like, when I hear my friends doing it, I get so excited about it, like counting my time. 2 more years, I'm done with it, like, but also trying to cherish as much as possible right now with the change, that the things that I could serve when I'm there with them right now. So it's that part of it that we are evolving constantly and accepting. That's a known thing. That's what I want to do. Not someone has told me to do it. Like, when we own and do the things what excites us, it's such a beauty that we are doing from love. Um, and replacing the pattern when we are coming, understanding from that love becomes super easier as well as to accommodate. The first thing, like, some of you might be planning for your summer holidays already. And think about, like, the first day is always a challenging day when you go for a holiday, because the weather, the time difference, packing, unpacking, unloading things down, getting all the family together or yourself together, settling into the new environment. One day of our trip is just gone out of 5 days, say, for example, like, we really actually start enjoying only on day 3, because you're accustomed to climatized to it and understood the environment, and you really get to, and by the time we have to pack up again if it's a short holiday. And that is where again the pattern is like coming in, right? Like anything, adjusting and getting to a new routine is a little tricky, but once you are determined, like, I need this break. That's it. My determination is I need this break. No matter what, I don't mind. Even if it's the third day, I fully enjoy it. I need that change in environment. I don't want to get up and do the laundry. I don't want to cook. Like, I don't want to clean, like all those things, like, so that is a freedom. That's what you're going to get a good bargain out of it as well, and change in the scenarios. So really having that negotiation with yourself and changing that parts of ourselves is really important deep inside. That comes in, like, as said, doing everything from your heart becomes easier, is practicing self-compassion. Buddhism talks a lot, Buddhist, any meditations, if you look at it, like, it's all about the compassion, connecting with the heart center. Like, my favorite person is Thich Nhat Hanh. He is a Vietnamese meditation guru monk. So he all talks about everything is love, washing the dishes, loving your neighbor. It could be like, seeing the flowers blooming up right now with the spring. So everything is coming from that love. And the more we are connecting to it, the more the joy we are bringing into our lives as well. Like, so that's the most important thing. Yeah. One major thing that reminds me of, like, how was I was changing around, that might help some of you, is say, like, I would pick my kids up from a long work day, and this is still in my diagnosis phase of long-term chronic illness, and pick them and bring them home, and start cooking and washing them and everything, like getting that time period of like 2 hours to get them into the bedtime. I was so rigid, like, this has to be done by this time, like, it's a programming that I went through. Only then they will be happier and everything. But slowly my husband started noticing that was not giving me any joy. I was just doing things to do things. And he suggested, why don't you come home, relax for 10 minutes, because he would be a good guy, like a good dad, fun dad, while I was doing everything else. And he was getting the most from my kids. And then he said, no, you need to deserve this. You need to enjoy this moment. So he would ask me to take 10 minutes break, attend the kids along with him, and then start preparing the meals. It could be like, or getting them into the bathtub. It could be as well. And he would take that role as like, one day you do it, one day I'll do it, like, so we are getting to share it. And it was very uncomfortable. It sounds simple now for me, but at the time it was like I was cutting chase, like, no, that's not how you need to do it. This is how a mother should be, like, and then only the guilt that comes with being a mother as well, right? And but once I started noticing, like, I was getting fulfilled, I was getting the joy after a long day and meeting your own family, spending that 10 minutes of a quality time. Around the same time, I heard about spending a quality time of 10 minutes is ideal than not spending any quality time with your children. Like, even though you could be a house mom or a parent in the house all the time, but if you didn't get 10 minutes to spend with your child, to check in with them, to have the deep conversation, there is no relation building there. And that really shook me. And I said, like, oh, no, 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 I want a relation with my kids, so I better do this change. So that is where I changed my patterns, and I still love that part of it, that the change has come into my life. Yeah. And so much we have been programmed just to do it with no heart in it, right? But when you put the heart in, is so magical. Nothing is restrictive. You're doing everything from love. There is no grudge. There is no heavy bargain that you were taking in. Oh, everything I'm doing here, or like, what are you doing? Like, all that bickering just moves away as well. I chose to do it. This is my opinion about, like, my choices, and I'm totally responsible for it. And over the time, those could be a pattern that again brings in, because we were so addicted to get that unconditional love. Then we have to recheck as well, like, this is again really what I want, like, so reevaluating ourselves is from the time to time is such a healthy way to progress in our own paths, progressing for ourselves, not for anyone, but for our own selves. We are progressing things forward. Yeah. So those are the ones that I thought of sharing with you guys. Like, and when we make those smaller actions, they don't need to be very intimidating. They don't need to be a massive boulder movement. They could be a small change that is incorporating with. Yeah. So here is to the new beginnings, releasing the old patterns and reclaiming our power. That's the most important thing. We are doing this for ourselves, to reclaim ourselves, all the parts and the strengths associated with it. So for the new beginning.